Good afternoon, everyone. In today's video, we are going to be looking at Tropical Storm Harold and Tropical Storm Franklin, which is both currently bringing impacts to land in the Caribbean and Texas. We also have a new disturbance in the Atlantic that is in the main development region. So again, a lot to talk about today. This is the satellite imagery of the Atlantic basin right now, and there is quite a bit of activity. As you can see, Tropical Storm Franklin still south of the Dominican Republic, still a tropical storm. We have a Tropical Storm Harold bringing impacts this morning to southern Texas, bringing some gusty winds and quite a bit of rainfall, which will lead to those flash flooding risks. We do have a post-tropical cyclone that is currently east of the Lesser Antilles. That is just kind of spinning out and is going to pretty much die off from there on out. We have a disturbance currently west of the Cabo Verde Islands that has around a 60% chance of developing, if I'm correct, at the next week or so. We also have another disturbance up here, and that has a small chance of developing into a tropical cyclone. It likely won't, but we have those two disturbances out in the main development region. You even have a tropical wave I'm watching over here coming off the coast of Africa that could have the potential to become another tropical disturbance. Here's a 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook from the National Hurricane Center. We have Tropical Storm Harold making landfall in Texas with sustained winds of 50 miles per hour, a minimum central pressure of 998 millibars located at 27.1 north, 97.4 west, and movement is west-northwest at 18 knots or 21 miles per hour. We have Tropical Storm Franklin still south of the Dominican Republic, but definitely approaching and making its way closer. This also has sustained winds of 50 miles per hour, a minimum central pressure of 1002 millibars, located at 15.5 north, 71.1 west, and movement is northwest at 7 miles per hour. Disturbance 1, which is the orange, we have a 50% chance of a cyclone formation in 7 days. And for disturbance 2, a 20% chance of a cyclone formation in 7 days. Here is Tropical Storm Harold. There's quite a bit of tropical storm force winds here on the northern side of this storm, and that's bringing some impacts to Corpus Christi with power outages and stuff like that. We do have some tropical storm warnings still in effect until this passes through. Tropical depression, as this is over land now, this will start to weaken into a tropical depression, eventually getting to a post-tropical storm by 7 a.m. Wednesday. And speaking about power outages, here's the power outage map for Texas. As you can see, the majority are down here in southern Texas, as we have around 50% of the county is without power. Kennedy County, we also have around 13,000 without power in Nueces County, 1,000 without power in Kleberg County, and other counties are starting to get more power outages. Sampan, Show. Apologies with these pronunciations, but we have 1,500 without power in that county there. Around 595 in the Jimha County. So quite a bit power outages are ongoing right now. I expect more power outages to continue to ramp up throughout the day here. And we actually do have a peak storm surge forecast, as likely is already happening. We have 1 to 3 feet of storm surge possibility over here throughout Corpus Christi, Baffin Bay, mouth of the Rio Grande,
Sargent, Matagorda Bay. I'll have the chance for some minimal storm surge, but nothing concerning. Mainly you'll notice the rise in waters over the beaches and the bays. Now here's Tropical Storm Franklin. We have tropical storm warnings out now for Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Tropical storm watches continue to be issued for the northern portion of the Dominican Republic, and Turks and Caicos will also be in some tropical storm watches. This will stay a tropical storm as it makes a northward motion through the Dominican Republic, bringing those tropical storm impacts. So we're talking power outages, damaging winds, could bring down some trees. Definitely a lot of rainfall is coming from this, so flooding is one of those main big threats from Tropical Storm Franklin. And this stays a tropical storm as it goes through the Dominican Republic. 8 a.m. Saturday makes another northwestern turn, and by 8 a.m. Sunday we could see a hurricane from Franklin. And here are some of those key messages.
Heavy rainfall from Franklin is expected across portions of Puerto Rico and Hispaniola into Thursday. The heavy rainfall may produce areas of flash and urban flooding as well as river rises and mudslides across Hispaniola. Significant and potential life-threatening flash flooding is possible Tuesday into Wednesday. And Franklin is expected to bring tropical storm conditions to portions of the Dominican Republic and Haiti, where tropical storm warnings are in effect beginning later today and continuing through Wednesday. And look at the latest GFS model 12Z run from this morning. Tropical storm Franklin will make landfall on the Dominican Republic early morning of Wednesday. As we head throughout Wednesday, it'll continue to make those impacts, but really it'll go through the Dominican Republic really fast. However, that flooding will continue for quite a bit as it heads northward. You still continue to see a lot of rain showers over the islands, and this definitely continues to strengthen as we head later through this week into this weekend, where we could see Category 1 hurricane, even Category 2. Category 3 is not out of the question as it heads northward, but it looks like Nova Scotia, Canada, so far will be in the clear of this. This was actually heading northward into Canada, but now it's heading more northeastward as we do have a high pressure down to here, and that kind of rotates it over to the east. So that's what it's looking like right now, Canada-wise. Like I said, early September might calm down a bit for right now, according to the GFS model. But of course, it's hurricane season. Really, anything can happen. We have those disturbances in the main development region or near it, and those don't look like they're going to develop into much due to some high wind shear in the area. We have some low pressures in early September, but really not much going on. Now, we are nearing the peak of hurricane season, but remember, we had Hurricane Ian last year, and that was in late September. And that was pretty much the storm of the year, reaching Category 5 status briefly before making landfall in southwestern Florida. And that, again, that was in late September. So we still have a lot to go within this hurricane season. I think there will be a calming period in the early September. I think it'll ramp up again around middle of September. Here's the latest SST values in the Atlantic. The Gulf is still piping hot, and that's why that storm developed so quickly into a tropical storm. Even though it's moving so fast, it's had that warm air, the warm water in the Gulf of Mexico. So any storms that really have the chance to enter the Gulf of Mexico, if we have any storms like Ian, where it kind of developed in the Caribbean and went to the Gulf of Mexico, that would definitely be a major storm if we had the right conditions and stuff like that. The main development region still quite warm here. The Caribbean piping hot as well. So really the waters are still very warm and primed for these storms. And look at the shear values right now. Here's Tropical Storm Franklin right here. We have shear over the Dominican Republic, Haiti, pretty much over Cuba, the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, Jamaica. We have a lot of shear just north of Franklin, so that might have it weakening a bit before it strengthens to a hurricane after it goes over the Dominican Republic, of course. But definitely rainfall is going to be one of those main threats. As you can see, we don't have a ton of wind shear in the Gulf of right now. We have a lot of wind shear over the East Coast. And look at the main development region. We don't have much shear at all in this area, but we do again have a lot of shear just north. So that's why those storms are not going to have a chance at developing in more the northern portion of the main development region. But any storms that do kind of head westward, if they develop this low southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands, head into the Caribbean, that could be a major storm. So continuing to monitor the Atlantic. The Eastern Pacific is pretty much quiet right now. Only really one disturbance that is in the Eastern Pacific. I hope you enjoyed the update on the latest tropics. Subscribe to the channel if you are new and turn on post notifications. You won't miss a single upload live stream this hurricane season. As always, I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe.